Hello, hello. What is going on? This is Ricardo with the Code 7 Podcast Network, and we are about to get started here. But first, a quick countdown, and then we will jump right in. Yeah. Welcome back, everyone. It is July 21st, 2024. And we are back for Open Mic Live. This live broadcast is sponsored by In Digital, a leader next gen core services. And a big shout out, as always, to subscribers of the podcast, whether you are on Circle, um, Patreon, or Facebook. All of those, as well as shout out to those who send stars on Facebook. Thank you very much. And I would not be able to do all of this if it wasn't for all of you. So thank you so much for joining, as always. And we've got a lot to get through this evening. And as always, I'm excited to be here with all of you. And as we always do with Open Mic Live, how are you feeling? Hmm? How are you doing? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being shitty, 10 being awesome, what is your number? And where are you watching from? I would say I'm at an 8, man. I'm feeling pretty good. It has been a good week. It has been a stressful week. If you have excuse me, if you've been following me on social media and everything, you know that I've been going through a lot lately with book number 2. I recently changed directions of what I'm doing, and I decided to go solo and decided to go ahead and self-publish book number 2. And shortly, I will be republishing book number 1 of Imagine Listening. So you will get a chance to see Ricardo's version of Imagine Listening, book number 1. And you are also going to get to see Ricardo's version of Imagine Listening, volume 2. And I'm very excited for all of you to check it out, man. I've learned a lot in the past couple of weeks, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit here before I go into what today is going into tomorrow and how special it is. Let's see over here in the comments, jumping in. James, what's going on, dude? Coming in at a 7.5, waiting for vacation. Yeah. Mark the Cop, what's going on, brother? Checking in at a 7 and just the tip. It kind of makes me think of Wipeout, where at the end they go something like, "Good night, folks," and big balls. That show is hilarious, man. That show cracks me up. So good. I'm glad. I'm glad that one, that you're all jumping in again. Thank you for being here with me, but also that a couple of you already coming in with some high numbers. So everyone else who's jumping in, please throw in the comments your number. Once again, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being shitty, 10 being awesome. Where are you? Take a quick swig of my coconut water here. No, they don't. I'm not selling anything. I just love this coconut water. So that's all. So I want to go ahead and I want to jump right in. Okay. I want to jump right in. Let's see. Carolyn is a solid 4.5. All right. Well, hopefully we can get your number up a little bit. Even if it stays the same. Thank you for being here. And I hope We can all have some fun tonight and all. Mark over here says, although that full moon has made it challenging, I bet. Yeah, those are some of the days that I kind of miss, in dispatch was it was the full moons because all the craziness would happen, as all of you know, and I actually kind of enjoyed it. I know, it's probably one of the crazy ones, but then again, I don't know. I feel like a lot of you might feel the same way where, when that full moon would hit, be like, "Bring it on, man. Bring it on. Whatever it may be, bring it on." Because some of those nights were the most excuse me, the most fun. And when I say that, for those who are watching that are in the general public, I know that when people are not calling in and 911, that means that nobody needs help, and that is a good thing. It's just when I was there, that's what I was there to do, is to help people. But during a full moon, I wasn't just helping people. I mean, there was, like, sometimes outrageous calls coming in and stuff that would just make you, like, make your eyes pop out of your head. So, yeah. Yeah, full moon does, definitely make things challenging, or if someone just happens to say the Q word, um, that happens as well, and then it's like, "Good luck. It's about to go to hell, and here we go." So, yeah, a lot of us know what that is. A lot of us know what that is like, and like I said before, sometimes I kinda miss those full moon nights in dispatch. Some of those were fun. It made the time go by fast, at least. Well, okay, hold on. It would be maybe half and half. Because what would happen is either it would go to hell and you'd be just working it and working it. And then you look up at the clock and it's like, what? There's only a few hours left of work. Yeah, we rocked this. Or it would be the same scenario. But you look up at the clock and it's like, "Damn, it's only been like 15 minutes." And you're like, "No, this is gonna be a long ass night." So it could go either way. Carolyn over here says, "My partner said the Q word Thursday, not 30 minutes later, the infrastructure all crashed." Oh, dude. So it was your partner's fault. Well done, partner. Everything crashed. That's another thing. I can't imagine being in dispatch when everything crashed out. It was nuts. And what I when I say that, I just mean, oh, hold on a minute. Carolyn says, "We only had phones." Yeah, I can imagine. All I remember is, so I mean, I stayed up kinda late, right? I usually do, but then I wake up super early. It doesn't matter what time I go to sleep. I could go to sleep at 3 and I'll wake up at 5 or 6. It's just my internal clock, and it just happens that way. I wake up and I see that, like, everything has gone to hell, man, and I'm like, "What?" It's like 911 services are out, banks are destroyed, all flights are grounded. I'm like, "What the hell is going on, dude?" Like, that is crazy. And, I mean, I still my phone serv like, everything was still working, like, in my area and stuff, but I was reading and reading and reading, and I just was, like, throwing out good vibes and strength to everybody who was dealing with it, because I can't even imagine. All of you, heroes, straight up, man. Straight up heroes. Well done, all of you. James says, "Yes, it's a real thing. I love the, 'Oh, wow, we're almost out of here' version." Yes, that is the best version. The, "Oh, wow, we are almost out of here," not the, "Oh my god, it's only been 20 minutes." Because a lot can happen in 20 minutes. We all know that. 911 doesn't stop. And just because there is an emergency going on, shit doesn't stop, dude. It just keeps going and going and going. And you just got to roll with it, cuz what else are you going to do? Oh, man. Well, if you worked at excuse me, if you worked during that whole crash and everything, well done. I applaud you, and thank you for being there. Because again, I can't even imagine, what it was like or even the types of calls you were receiving. Um, so actually, for any of you who were working during that time and you were receiving calls, um, what were you getting? Was it like people calling saying, "It's the end of the world as we know it"? Let's see. Carolyn says, "We need patches or coins." Like, I survived the, infrastructure crash. I like it. I dig it. I did see the people were they were posting, like, parody posts from, on Facebook saying, like, checking in that they're safe from the crash or whatever it was. Oh, man, yeah. The internet was definitely winning with a lot of, memes and different things that were going out there, man. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I just saw a lot of friends that were just kinda scrambling and posting even in private groups saying, "So, how are you guys doing, wherever you might be? How are you doing if you're dealing with this right now? We're doing alright. How about you?" And I was just reading comment after comment, like, "Dude, yeah." Pretty crazy stuff. The only reason I ask about what types of calls you were getting is because, like, just when the power would go out, we would get phone calls from, like, 80 different people saying, "Our power went out." And they're like, "Ours did too. We're on generator, but, we don't have any power either. Uh, what do we do? Call your power company or just hold up and wait because there's not a lot you can do." However, there would be houses or places, whatever, when people are on oxygen machines or something, and the power would go out, and you're like, "Holy crap." Like, those things would suck, man, and, a lot of times people would just say, "We're gonna find a different place that has power so that we can plug in because, I mean, I need to breathe," and those would suck. Like, I remember sometimes I would get off the phone and just be like, "Lord, please, please, please help these people that they're able to find something or that the power comes back really fast so that they don't have to deal with anything like this." Let's see, Carolyn says, "It was pretty similar to that. Lots of prank calls too. I can imagine a lot of jerks, like jerk kids or teenagers or something calling in stupid pranks." Yeah. Well, what can you do? Um, again, I applaud you guys. Like, I don't know where to go with it because I can't imagine. Well, a little bit, only because, like I said, when the power goes out, people freak out and start calling like crazy. Um, So I can just imagine this happening and people just, "It's the end of the world, man. Everything's gone down." Oh, shit. So, we just jumped right in right there. So, as always, I did I wanna there's a few things I wanna talk about with you all. And one of those things right off the bat is, like I mentioned, I've been having, I was having some issues, with book 2, and I have completed it. It is complete. Should be able to make the launch still. Having books at the National APCO conference, I'm going to do my best. Heather, what is going on? Hello, hello. Juliet, what is going on? Hello to all of you and welcome. So, I'm going to do my best to have books there. Going the route like self-publishing, I want you to know, okay? It takes a lot of patience. Luckily, I'm a graphic designer, so I can design everything and I can put it out there, get it done, and go through with it. The problem is, like, this shit's expensive, man. So, I mean, the price for the books, they're not gonna be outrageous or anything like that, so don't worry about that, but it's a lot more than what, you know, what you would think, goes into it, but I'm all for it. And, you get to see right now Ricardo's version of book number 2 because like I said, I finished it and I ordered a test copy and here it is. It's an 8.5 by 8.5 hardcover matte finish. And there it is, volume 2 with that Within the Trenches Media logo on it, as well as on the back. And yes, I've been holding on to it so you can see my fingerprints. But right there as well, logo, website, all of it. And everything there, man. I need you to know, ever since everything happened and I decided to go a different route and self-publish, I have been busting my ass to get this out to all of you. Again, this is volume 2. And soon enough, I'll be bringing out Ricardo's version of volume 1. I've already sketched out a bunch of stuff today, and I am super excited for all of you to see it. Now, sometimes when you're so focused on something, you miss something. And I missed something. And what I missed was when you export all of the stuff that goes inside the book, there is something that is called bleeds, slugs, and margins. And there's a button that needs to be clicked. And for whatever reason, mine was not. So this looks amazing, but I'm such a design nerd and I want you all to have the best. I went in and I redid, made some edits and tweaks, which is why you get a test book first before you start selling them. And oh man, it is going to be sexy. So just wait. I think I should have my digital proof tomorrow. I'm going to triple check that. And then I will put the link out there for all of you to be able to pre-order and do all the other good stuff for book number 2. And I keep hinting at something that's in the book and it's towards the end. And I'm going to continue to hint to it. But all I can say is if I could tell you one thing, it is not to miss volume 2. This is book 2 in a series of books that are going to be coming out for Imagine Listening. And this one just, oh my Lord, it looks good. That hardcover, there's going to be a paperback as well. There's going to be an ebook, and I'm going to voice the audiobook as well. That stuff will come soon, but this is the most important thing to get out and get out as fast as possible, but also make it look good. And so I just wanted to let you know I haven't been getting much sleep because I've been busting my ass to make sure that this all gets done. Otherwise, had I stayed the other route, you might not have been getting any books or anything, and you'd probably be pissed off at me. And I want to make sure that you're getting what you're paying for. So I wanted to share that with all of you. I've already posted pictures and everything for book 2, and it's so sweet, man. It's just, I mean, that first page Volume 2 right there on it in the back. Name, Within the Trenches Media, and Code 7 Traffic LLC. All of it in there. It's exciting, man. Super exciting. And I'm just thankful for all of your support and all of you who submitted stories for the I Am 911 movement and continue to submit stories. This will be something that you can share with friends and family if they ever have any questions about what it is that you do, what it's really like. This this is a look into that. An intimate look into the powerful stories that come from all of you. So thank you, because I wouldn't be able to do everything I do if it wasn't for all the stuff that you do and the support and your trust in me to share your stories. I've been doing this for over 10 years. The podcast and the I Am 911 movement for 7 or over 7, about 8, coming on 8 now. And it's been an amazing experience. So thank you, all of you. But again, I'm excited for you to see book 2. There's so much that has gone into it, and stories that I share in there of my own that you'll get to read as well. A lot of stories that I don't always share or anything. Those stories are in there, and so much more. As soon as I get that digital proof, as soon as all of it is ready, which should be within the next couple days, I will put the link out there. Now, as I said in some of my social media, you can easily find the link right now, but it's an old link, and it's a link that's attached to the publisher that I was with before. So if you order from it, it's going to get canceled anyway. So just please be patient and wait until I put a link out there for you to have and to go to. Um, because you'll be able to purchase it off of Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and all of those stores. And I'm also going to have a link that's on the online store, my store, it'll have it on there, and it'll probably be a couple versions, the paperback, the hardcover, and then a bundle like I did with book 1. There'll be a bundle as well that has, an I Am 911 wristband, lapel pin, and I Am 911 patch. So just look out for all of those, and I will be putting the link out there as soon as I have it. Um, Over here on Instagram, uh, got a person in the audience saying, "Awesome, looking forward to it." Yes, thank you. I'm looking forward to all of you checking it out and everything too. So thank you to everyone who made this possible. And I've been busting my ass to design it and having so much fun designing it as well. Have I been stressed out to the gills? Yes. I've been super stressed out to the max. Like, you have no idea. Oh, especially when I had to do the redesign, man. I Within 24 hours, I went through and completely did it over, and just doing it my way, really, is what it was, and doing what I needed to do. Um, but it's been worth it, and it's gonna be worth it. And again, like I keep saying, I can't wait for all of you to see it. All right. So there we are. That's the information on Imagine Listening Book 2. Episode, I think it was 556 went out recently, and 557 will be coming out soon. I've got episodes all over the place, man. So, and other people coming on to record. And as I've said before, I've been doing this for over 10 years. This is my passion. This is what I love to do. And I would love to share your story literally with the world. And whether you are new to dispatch, a seasoned dispatcher, or retired, I want to share your story. So if you ever want to be a guest, Check out the link down at the bottom, links.co/WTT podcast. That's links with two eyes.co/WTT podcast. And Juliet, what's up? She says, hard work pays off, my friend. Yes, definitely. Definitely. Thank you. And also thank you for all the encouragement. You are the best. That's why I love you, dude. You're the best. One of the best I know. I don't know why I started saying it there. I'm so stupid. Anyway. um so today is a special day. Tomorrow will be even more special for two reasons. One, it's my dad's birthday tomorrow, and I'm going to go see him and hang out and take him to lunch and stuff. My brother and I are going to go see him. So that's always good. But also, the other reason tomorrow is special is because it'll be the anniversary of my last day in dispatch before I went off to work on the private side. Today, July 21st, is the eve of that day, obviously. And I just want to share this story with you for the rest of this time. However, if you have any funny 911 stories, as we always do with open mic, throw them in the comments. I will read them. Um, however, if you have anything similar to what I'm about to share with you, um, throw it in the comments as well, and I'll read it. Okay. All right. So here we go. So July 21st, 2013, man, a lot of stuff going on leading up to that date. Because that year, I had already launched the Within the Trenches podcast. I had several episodes under my belt. And during that time, my coworker Whitney and I had made her my co-host during that time in the beginning. And so much stuff was happening. A lot of things were happening. It was going super fast. And I didn't know where it was going to go. I didn't. I did not know where any of this was going to go. I mean, how would I? How would anyone know where all of this was going to lead and lead to me talking to all of you right now? So, during that time leading up, even just from like January to May, so much stuff happening. The newspaper being on the front cover of the Holland Sentinel, Holland, Michigan. And that was talking about what it was that I was doing, that I was sharing 911 dispatch stories, not just my own, but other dispatchers from around the world. What this job is really like and how this all started from my own struggle in 911 with some of those harder calls, the mental health and wellness piece of it all. And not just that, but a ABC affiliate, local affiliate, WZZM 13, Angela Cunningham, reporter at that time there with them, caught wind of what I was doing and ended up coming out to the dispatch center to record a segment. And we also had her on an episode, which was a lot of fun. And during that time as well, a director from a surrounding county, her name is Jerry Tapper, the late Jerry Tapper. She passed away several years ago. An amazing person and a good friend of mine. She was part of Michigan Nina as well. And she heard about what I was doing. And she reached out to my deputy director and suggested that I speak at the Michigan NINA conference in Lansing. And I remember thinking, I've never spoken like that before. I don't know. And I said, "What am I supposed to talk about?" And my deputy director said, "Well, she just wants you to talk about what it is that you're doing because she really believes in what it is that you're doing." So the keynote that I give now is a version of what I was talking about way back then. And, I end up going through all of that. And also, I will always be grateful to you, Jerry, because I remember talking with her every time I saw her. She would just keep telling me, keep doing what you're doing because it's about time that people heard our side. And you're the person to do it. You are our voice. And I just remember saying thank you for everything. And I just, I'll never forget, she would say to me, "Oh, stop. I didn't do anything. This is all you. I just made a suggestion for you to come and speak." And I would say, "Yeah, but if it wasn't for you asking me to speak, I don't know where things would be." And she goes, "You would have been fine." Oh, man. She's an awesome person. Fuck. So while I was there, um, I was recording episodes as well. And, everything leading up again to this day, all those years back in 2013, there was a lot of support and everything going into what it was that I was doing. And, the company who sponsors this podcast and who I ended up going to work for a long time in digital, um, they also helped for my Kickstarter campaign. Chrissy, hey, how's it going? Um, Along with a lot of other people. And, I stayed in touch with them. Well, while I was there at the Michigan NINA conference and I was recording episodes and everything, um, a gentleman named Ron was there and he was with National NINA. And he ended up calling them. And I remember after one of the episodes, he runs up to me and he goes, "You're going to nationals." And I was like, "Awesome." I don't know what that means because honestly, I didn't know a lot about the NINA organization during that time. I thought every state just simply had a chapter. I didn't realize that there was a mothership or a national conference. So I I ended up going. I also remember one of those episodes, Jim Marshall of the 911 Training Institute was there, and he puts his arm around me and he goes, "Well, there you go, Ricardo." He goes, "This is where it all starts." And I said, "What?" And he goes, "Everything." And I just remember standing there like, "What?" And I got to go to that national conference. I'll never forget it. And when I was there, I recorded so many episodes and so many awesome things happened. I met tons of people who I'm still really good friends with. And the president of InDigital was there and he went to see me. And wait, Angie says, "Thank you, Jerry, for giving Ricardo his first kick in the arse." We are all grateful. Yeah. I will never forget you, Jerry. Thank you. Several years ago, she lost her battle to cancer, but even up until then, she was such an amazing person and strong fighter, man, and just completely and utterly believed and supported everything I was doing. And Ah, yeah. Those are those connections, those people that you meet, and they stick with you forever. So I'm at the conference, and Mark Grady, the president of InDigital, he comes up to me. I'm like, "What are you doing here?" And he goes, "Oh, I had a few meetings." I was like, "Oh, cool." And he's like, "Actually, I'm here to see you." And I said, "You came all the way from Indiana to North Carolina to see me?" And he goes, "Well, yeah." And he says, "What are you doing for dinner tonight?" And I said, "Whatever you're doing, man, because you came to see me. So whatever you're doing." We went to this really cool restaurant, and we were there for a few hours, and we talked about kind of what I thought about what I was doing and where I saw it going. And I said, I don't know where it's all going to go. I said, I just simply want to leave 911 in a better place than I found it and leave some sort of mark on this profession and to give back somehow. I said, and I don't know how that'll happen, but I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And he offered me a job to work with them because of my tech background and 911 background. And I just remember him saying, "We found you through this podcast, so we're going to continue to support you." And those within the trenches of 911. And I was like, "All right, awesome." And he's like, "So what about the job?" And I said, I don't want to be rude. I said, "But I really need to think about it." And we had made some decisions even the following day, but I still was like, I still got to think about this. Like, I got to go home, talk to my family, because 911 was everything that I knew, and I felt like I was betraying my family, man. My Thin Gold Line family. I didn't want to leave because I loved what I was doing. It was a hard decision, and everyone that I talked to, and of course with my family, we had a long talk and everything, and then talking to those that I worked with, because it was a sad thing, man. Like, what? But it was through talking with them as well, just convincing me to, like, choose you, do what you feel is going to be the best for you and your family. Don't worry about us, because what you're going to end up doing, you know, will not only help us, but it'll help 911 as a whole someday. And I ended up making the decision to retire out of dispatch and go into the private side and continue to do the podcast and help 911 in a different way. But again, it wasn't an easy decision. And every time I would go into dispatch as a supervisor, jokingly, I would go into my deputy director's office and I would say, "This is it. I'm done. I quit. That's it." And then we would both laugh and I would just be like, "All right, I'm going to go heat up my food and go relieve the other supervisor." It was always funny, And that last time, though, I remember walking in and my deputy director, she goes, "Is this it? Is this the last time?" And I shut the door and I sat down and she just looks at me and she's like, "Oh, shit." And I said, "I need to talk to you." And she goes, "Okay, let me have it." And I said, after a lot of thinking, I'm putting in my 2 weeks notice, and for real. I'm putting in my 2 weeks notice." And she goes, "Well, I kind of figured that someone was going to take you from us eventually. or that you were just gonna simply leave because of everything that you're doing, and you're doing great things, and you're gonna continue to do great things, don't stop. And, she says, "But, I mean, you beat me to the punch." And I just sat there and I was like, "Wait, what?" Because then at first I thought, "Well, wait, were they gonna fire me?" But that's not what it was. She goes, "You beat me to the punch in telling you about a 2 weeks notice." And I said, What do you mean?" And she goes, "I put in my 2 weeks notice as well 2 hours ago." Oh! And I said, "What?" I said, "Are you for real? Are you joking with me?" And she goes, "No, I'm serious. I'm going to go work for the sheriff's department in, like, the HR and stuff." And I was like, "Oh, dude." I was like, "Well, congratulations to the both of us." Oh, it was crazy. Like, we had um, our going away parties or retirement parties or whatever you wanna call it together. "Connor, what is going on, bro?" Um, so we had them together and, it was it was a lot of fun, but I just remember thinking, "Oh, shit, like, we're both doing this at the same time? Whoops." The cool thing, though, about this is that I planned it out so that my last day would be on my dad's birthday, and which is July 22nd, which is why, again, tomorrow is 2 special days. One, my dad's birthday, and the other, my last day in dispatch. And I remember this day, the eve of my last shift, I was oh, Emily, hey, M, what's going on, yo? Says usually happens in 2s or 3s at least, LOL. Yes, no, for real. Um, I remember thinking, like, "Am I making the right decision? Am I doing the right thing?" And I don't know that I slept that much when I finally had the chance to sleep because I had 13 years total working dispatch. So many calls, so many things, and I was freaking out, man. I was freaking out, but I knew that it was the right decision. So I made sure that my last shift was going to be a 1 p to 1 a shift because we worked 12 hours, and I wanted it to be 12 hours like that in that mid shift because I wanted to work with the morning crew and then finish it off with the night crew that I usually work with, and then, of course, my team. And I wanted to work with, the dispatchers that were working mornings as well during that time because everyone that was there, I mean, they were all my homies, every single one of them. I mean, everybody was, but I'm just saying that morning shift, we had been so close working back to back that I wanted to make sure to have some time with them. And it was bittersweet, man. I remember sitting there that whole shift, taking calls, doing all these other things, and thinking, "Well, that's the last time I'm gonna hear from that person. That's the last time I'm gonna hear from this person." Whether it be an officer or someone who, would call all the time for different, types of complaints. And I just remember just looking around the center and just trying to take as many mental pictures as I could, because that had been my home for so long. And it's getting close to there's like a few hours left. And in true dispatch fashion, my relief was pretty sick and was going to try to come in, but called in instead. And I was like, no, just stay home if you're not feeling that great, especially because this person lived like a few hours away. And and I said, no, 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 no. I said, don't worry about it. And the way it worked where I worked is like if somebody volunteers for the time or whatever, you get put down in the bottom of that forcing list. But what I had decided was, "Man, I'm going to go out with my team. I don't want anybody to have to come in for the overtime. So I volunteered to work the rest of the shift. So, also in true dispatch form, my last shift ever in dispatch was a 16-hour overtime shift. But seriously, man, I didn't want anybody else to have to come in. And why not finish the rest of the time with my crew? That's how I wanted it, and that's how it went down. The thing is those last 4 hours, instead of working on phones like I was that whole time in the beginning, I ended up switching to main law enforcement radios. And, what Connor says, "That was me before the agency I'm at now. My last shift was a mandatory 12-hour holdover." So you know exactly what I mean, dude. Thanks, dispatch. But, I was again, I was happy because I was gonna finish it off with my team, and, I mean, what better way than to do it that way? So, I'm on radios, and it's getting towards the end of the shift, and I know that I'm gonna be making my last transmission over the radio. What am I going to say? What am I going to do? And I started typing it out, and it was short and sweet, and I thought, "I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get through this, even though it's short and sweet." And, before I got to my last transmission, and I post this every year, I'm gonna post it tomorrow and give a little background, right? But all of you are gonna get to see it here in a moment. I'm sitting at main radios. There's not a lot going on, right? When you say stuff like that, it's like something's gonna happen. You're tempting fate. You might as well have said the Q word, right? And, I'm, uh I'm sitting there and I'm just talking with my coworkers, Whitney and Jill, and, they also had asked, like, "What do you want for your last shift?" Like, food, like, if we bring in food or whatever, and I said, "What would be funny is if we, uh, did a tailgate outside in the parking lot," and we did. So, Whitney and Jill, I will always love you. I will love you forever and will always be grateful because they brought a little, like, grill. I think it was an electric one. Uh, and, we had steak and eggs. It was the best. You guys made it the best ever. I will always be grateful to you guys. But we're sitting there and we're talking, and I said, there's out of all the calls that I've ever taken, call types, that is, there's one call type that I have not taken and I will never get to take. And they started laughing and they were like, "Don't put that out over the in the air in the universe because it might happen." I was like, "No. The odds of this type of call happening? No. No, it would never happen. Never." Plus, like, at this time, there's only, like, 40 minutes left in my shift. There's no way. So what I said out loud was, out of all the calls that I have taken, the only thing that I never had to do was a medical call where I had to translate in Spanish. And we all laughed, "Ha, ha, ha," "Yeah, no, that won't happen." And a few minutes later, a little while later, the phone rings, and I'm just sitting at main radios like, it's whatever, phone call. And then I hear my coworker Jill, who's on main phones, I hear her start saying, un momento, like, hold on a minute, 1 minute, just hold on. One moment. And I sat up and I looked over at Wit and she starts laughing and she's like, dude, I was like, no, she said, bro. And I'm like, what? Like, no, no. And so then I thought, well, these guys are just messing with me. They probably sent an MCT message to one of the officers and they called and they're like, this is all just a work. It's no, it's not real. She puts the phone on hold. And then she stands up and I stand up and I was like, "Dude, I was like, you almost had me." And she goes, and she's laughing as she's telling me this. She goes, "No." She goes, "This is somebody who needs help. You have to translate." I was like, "Oh, are you for real?" So I quickly pick up the phone. And sure as shit, dude, it was a medical that I'm translating in Spanish. What? It actually happened. I mean, the odds of that in the time that was left, what are the odds? I did it, and I rocked that shit. The crazy thing too was that this person had no idea where they were. There was no technology like it is now, and he was calling from a cell phone that I don't think had, like, service. It was one of those NSI phones, non-service initialized phones. Luckily, he was in an area that I basically grew up in, so I knew exactly where he was as he's giving me landmarks and telling me. What happened, though, he was having trouble breathing. He was at a friend's house. They had been partying. Everyone is passed out drunk, and he was the only one awake and having trouble breathing. We got everybody out there. There was no transport. He was having a panic attack, is what it turned out to be, but he refused to go with them or anything. He was like, "No, I'm fine now." So that's how all of that went down, man. And I just remember sitting there like, "Okay, don't put things out in the universe." I mean, like, when you're in dispatch and stuff, because the shit is going to happen. And it did. It happened. I still can't believe that it happened, but it did. Again, you put that shit out and it happens. So, a little bit after that, it's the time is building up and the time has come. And I will be forever grateful to my friend Whitney because she recorded this. And at the time, I didn't know she was recording it. I was so focused on what I was gonna be saying and that it was my last shift, my last transmission, all of it, that I didn't notice that she was recording. So there I am, main radios. It is about a quarter to 5 in the morning, last shift of my dispatch career. Now, I will say this really quick so that it makes sense. There were things that we did in dispatch when I was on the radio sometimes where, and I'm sure some of you have done the same, where you would say meow, right, instead of now, like, like Super Troopers. Sometimes on the radio, I would try to get in a like the noise, like sound effect, um, giggity, and a sniff because the officers and I would do that sometimes on the radio. It started out with a deputy doing it, and I thought it was hilarious. And it seemed so stupid, but it was fun. And it also, kind of broke up the craziness that can be 911, but also we didn't do this when it was crazy, okay? Don't get it twisted. It was like when nothing was going on. We would just key up out of nowhere sometimes and then I would key up and sniff back. It was so stupid. But it's part of my last transmission. And towards the end, you can kind of hear it in my voice that it's starting to break. And I did almost lose it. So here it is.
Elliott Central to all stations and units. My 8 years here have come to an end now. It has been an excellent experience. Giggity and Godspeed. It's been a pleasure and an honor working with all of you. I'm out. Over 20.
420. Hoorah! I know. Where do you start?
There it is. So actually, my memory on the time was off because that was the other thing. Sometimes, well, whenever I was on radio, and if certain officers were working, we would call a time check at 4:20. So I was saving my transmission for 4:20. That's why it's at 4:20. And so then that medical happened just before that last transmission. Oh man. I will always have this. Again, thank you, Wit, for recording that. So there you have it. That was my last transmission at Allegan County Central Dispatch. Whew. Wow. A lot has happened since then. You know, when the shift was over, I left. I split really quick to go pick up my brother, and then we drove straight back to the center to tailgate with a few folks and with my team and to have steak and eggs. And I remember before I left to pick up my brother, this might sound stupid, but you can think what you want to think because it was special to me. When I left the center to pick up my brother, I stood in the hallway and I just looked around, again, taking those mental pictures. I can see myself in my head doing this, looking at the offices, just going down the hallway. I walked into the locker room, I walked into the garage, and I was just taking mental pictures because that was going to be that was my last time there as a 911 dispatcher and call taker. Man, it feels like it was just yesterday. It's crazy. But I remember doing that. I remember walking through and taking those last looks because everything was going to be different now. And I went home and I picked up my brother. We did our thing. I said goodbye to everybody, and we left. And when we left, I stopped immediately and reversed. And my brother goes, "What's going on?" And I said, "I need you to do something for me." I had him take this picture. That was the last picture I took there at the center. And we got back in the car and we took off, and I kept looking at the sign in the mirror as we were headed out of the complex. And then the rest of my journey began to where I'm at here with all of you now. I still look like a dork. Oh, man. Oh, sorry. That's how it all went down, man. That's why today and tomorrow and everything is so special, because it was the beginning of everything. Going on to work at InDigital for about 8 years. And doing everything as an industry partner, working on different presentations for Text for 911, backup phone systems, next generation 911, all types of things. But at the same time, continuing to do what I do, which is the podcast and sharing stories, getting them out there to the world. And then the I Am 911 movement, teaching, and then Imagine Listening, Dare to Be Great, and then eventually going on my own, doing what it is that I do now with Within Trenches Media. It has been a roller coaster of emotions, an amazing experience, and there's no stopping. It's going to continue, and things are just going to continue to get bigger and better. And I can't wait, because all of you are on this ride with me. And I'm humbled, and it's an honor to do this with all of you, to have you with me, and to see you, to teach with you, to be here with you on open mic, just all of it. Thank you. All of this that I do now started in 2010. My dispatch career started in 2001. I've been in public safety since then. And it has been a hell of a time. Don't wait for opportunity. Create it. And it's something that I've been doing since the beginning. And like I said, I'm not going to stop. Thank you, all of you. And thank you for being here with me today. I hope that you had a good time tonight hearing these stories, learning about just everything and more about myself, but also to get to see this first copy of Imagine Listening Volume 2 and everything that's coming from it. In a couple of weeks, I will be at the APCO conference, and on August 7th, twice, On that last day, I will be doing Imagine Listening, and I hope to see you there if you're going to be there, because it's going to be awesome. Thank you. Thank you for everything. Whew. For those who are watching and listening, if you have any comments, questions, or you want to be a guest on the show, you can email me, and that's going to be wttpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on social media. You can follow and listen all over the place. The easiest way to check all of this out is to simply go to links.co/WTT podcast. And that's links with 2 i's.co/WTT podcast. And you'll find everything on there. Make sure to check it out. If you want to be on the podcast, there's a link there to do that as well. This live broadcast has been sponsored by InDigital Leader Next Gen Core Services. Shout out to subscribers of the podcast, but especially all of you who have been watching, listening, sharing, and supporting over all of these years. Thank you so very much. And all of what I do as well, getting your stories out there, it is also to help you feel comfortable sharing your personal story. When you're ready, of course. Because your story is important. And it matters. You matter. That's what the whole point is of everything that I do, man. The mental health and wellness piece, you sharing your stories, that recognition, all of it. But also all of you feeling that you're not alone, because we're all in this together. One voice can make a difference. One voice can make a change. And I know you guys have heard this before, but I'm going to continue to say it. I'm not talking about my voice. I'm talking about all of yours. Because each and every one of you has a story. Each and every one of you matters. Your voice can change the world. And even if you feel like your voice can't change the world, just remember that your voice can change your caller's world. And you might feel like what you do is just a drop in the water, but always remember that when there is a drop in that water, there are ripples, just like my good friend Gary says. And within those ripples is the impact of what you do. Hold your head up high, because you do a job that not a lot of people can do. A few months ago, someone told me that only 2 to 4% of the American population can do what you do. Between that and your voice, damn it, you're powerful. And you are amazing. Don't let anyone ever tell you different. Thank you for what you do. This can be seen on Facebook, YouTube, X, as well as Instagram. And you can listen to the flagship show Within the Trenches podcast 24/7 on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, your favorite podcasting app, and withinthetrenches.net. Have a good one, everyone. And I will see you all in the next one.